as I've started to make more money in life and just feel more financially secure, one thing that I've been thinking about is at what point have you made it financially? I mean, at what point can you say to yourself, I'm doing pretty good? I think it's really important to ask yourself that question because if you don't, you'll forever be running this rat race, having no clue where you're headed with no destination in sight. You'll never get to reap the benefits of your hard work and discipline, and you'll live your life never reaching enough. And so in this video, I want to talk about 7 signs that you have made it financially. And I think that many people watching this video right now have already made it, but you just haven't yet realized it. Now, the first sign is making money is no longer your top priority. Now, life is full of twists and turns and surprises. And for the average person, money is always going to be a priority. You're always going to have to find ways to make money because it's hard to know what your financial needs will be 10, 20, 30 years from now. But you have made it financially when the option to make more money appears and you can say, no thanks. Now, obviously, making money is always going to be a priority, but you have made it financially once you reached a point when you're faced to make a choice, like to go to your kid's baseball game or make a few extra $100, and you can prioritize the game over the money. Because not everyone can say no to money. So many people are in such a tough spot financially that they would have to choose the money over watching their kids' game because they're behind on their bills. And that can cost them their sanity and lower their quality of life. Money is always going to be a priority for the majority of people in this world. But when you don't have to stress out about every single dollar that you miss out on, you have made it financially. Now, the second sign is you have margin. Now, I think that one of the keys to achieving success in life is having margin. And what I mean by that is having an amount of money that acts as a buffer between you and being broke that gives you time and certainty in life. For example, when I quit my job to do YouTube full time, I had a margin of $80,000. So in the beginning, when I didn't make much money, I was still far from being broke. That margin bought me time. It bought me time to understand how this works and build up this thing. And now I'm able to save money again. Whereas if I didn't have margin, I would quickly need money, no longer be able to do this, and go back to a job. Having margin in life, 1, buys you time to do what you want, and 2, protects you from life's uncertainty. It gives you options, and when you have margin in life, you have made it financially because you can use money to empower you rather than having money hold you back in life. Now, although margin is a buffer between you and being broke, a solid emergency fund, it's also about making sure that all of your bases are covered so when something happens, it doesn't affect you as much financially.
Hello, and welcome back to Money Mentor. Today, we have an exciting topic to explore. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our valuable content. Let's dive right in.
Now, the third sign is you can deny money if it compromises your values. Because 99% of the people that reach out to me, the companies, I say no to because every single week, people reach out to me like cryptocurrencies, wasteful consumerism apps, or sketchy finance companies, and I always say no. I turn down 99% of sponsors because they don't align with my values, and I'm not going to promote something that goes against what I say. For example, once I got an offer for $3,000 to promote a savings account that wasn't insured by the FDIC, and of course I said no. And that's a lot of money to turn down. But no amount of money is worth giving up my value system. But there comes a lot of privilege in order to say that because many people are in such a tough financial spot that they might be forced to say yes, exchanging money for their values. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person because when times are tough, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But you have made it financially when you can deny money when it compromises your values. You have made it financially when you don't have to sell your soul in order to make ends meet. Now, the fourth sign is you can say no to people. Now, to go back to that topic of margin, another thing that margin gives you is the ability to tell people no. Because when you have margin in life, you can tell people, no, I'll pass. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not desperate. Money gives you the ability to tell people no, and not everyone has that ability. I mean, if you're broke, you can say no over the fear of consequence. The power to say no is probably the most freeing thing that money can buy. And when you're not desperate, you can tell people no. You have made it financially because your money is acting as security. It's giving you options, and you don't have to belittle yourself because you have the ability to tell people no. Now, the fifth sign is you can and choose to live in the present. I think a huge challenge of life that many people have trouble dealing with is always living in the past or the future, but never living in the present. Many people have trouble living in the present, and a lot of that trouble comes from money. I mean, if you're broke, you have to live in the past because of bad decisions that followed you to the present, and also worry about what your future is going to look like, never living in the present. But on the other extreme, when people start to make a lot of money, they hustle and grind in the present, thinking it'll pay off in the future, but never enjoy the present. Regardless of if you're broke or have a lot of money, regardless of your financial situation, many people have trouble living in the present, but you have made it financially. When your past decisions don't hinder your present, and you've defined enough to not always be living in the future. You have made it financially when you can and choose to live in the present. I heard this really powerful quote the other day that went, "Success is when you stop trading today for tomorrow." You'll never have enough until you define enough, but once you define enough, then it's much easier to live in the present moment. Now, the sixth sign is you think about if you want it rather than if you can afford it. So I recently moved to Georgia because I wanted to make a big life change. And when I was debating the pros and cons of whether I should do it, my decision was centered around the question, is this what I want to do? I spent months beforehand thinking about whether or not this is what I wanted to do. And being able to think that way is an immense privilege because most people, when faced with the exact same decision, their thought process is centered around the question, can I afford to do this? Because they're not financially stable. In many people's decision-making process revolves around money because they don't have a strong financial safety net that gives them options. But you have made it financially when your decision-making process doesn't revolve around money, when you can make decisions for what's best for you rather than if you can afford it. Money ultimately, I think, should be viewed as a tool that you use to empower yourself rather than this thing that holds you back in life. And when you use it as a tool, you have made it financially. Now, the final sign that you have made it financially is you don't want much. Basically, what I'm trying to say in this video is that you have made it financially when money stops becoming a burden in life. Money is serving you rather than you serving it. You have made it financially when you can use money to do whatever you want in life. You can prioritize what matters. You can protect yourself. You have integrity. You have options. You're focused on the present, and money doesn't dictate your decisions. However, although you can do whatever you want, you don't want much. You don't have a desire for bigger things. You don't have a desire for abundance, and you don't have a desire for more. You're simply just happy with what you have, and I believe that there's a word for this, contentment. There's a quote that goes, "Wealth consists not of having great possessions, but having few wants." When you find contentment in your life, instead of always wanting more, you have made it financially. You don't have to have $1 million to make it financially. You just have to use your money as a tool to empower yourself and not let a mindset hold you back in life.